Hello, hello, hello. Is this Kinrock here? And no, you did not read that title wrong. Yes, I'm in fact doing a Yu-Gi-Oh video. Why? Why not? This is something I had in mind for a while. A nice series I thought we could do would be how to make something better. We'll take something we all enjoy and we'll redo it in such a way to make it more fun, maybe fix some problems and all that. And I've always been a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, like the nerd I am. I'm sure many of you aren't surprised by that. Okay, enough stalling out. I'm sure anyone who cares for the live stream would be here right now. Or at least anyone who's able to actually join. I'm pretty sure anyone who actually cares is probably busy. Probably the worst time to take a drink of water, but yeah, we're officially done stalling. So, for those of you who aren't familiar, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a Japanese card game anime about a card game where people summon monsters in order to do battle with each other. It's like Pokemon, but more intense? Less intense? I don't know. It all depends on how you look at it. So, when it comes to this, I find part 1 of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! To be the most inconsistent, and honestly, I don't hate it. It had a lot of good stuff going for it, but a lot of what can be fixed is plot related. Not part 1, first and almost, you should probably have the rules for the game set out. It was ridiculous to watch them just summon stronger monster after stronger monster. Yuki and Seto right the first duel when they first get holographic monsters. I mean, it just goes from like 14,000, I think it was like 600, 800, 12,000, 14,000, 2,500, then just 3 blue eyes right on turn, the next turn, and just whatever gets summoned just getting destroyed until Exodia. I mean, Exodia was a great moment, but you definitely need to find a way to work around the weirdness that happened there. And a good way of saying that is already having the tribute rules and face downs and all that set up so that it looks like it's not just whoever has the strongest monster wins. I mean, weirdly enough, that actually kind of makes Seto right during this first part. If Yugi didn't have Exodia, he had no chance of winning that. Especially since there was no other creature besides... No, there's just no creature at that point in time that had an attack power like the blue eyes. Especially not 3. If monsters were to tie, and Seto had 3 of these things, you would have to literally get 3 other monsters with 3,000. And considering that there's only one other Blue Eyes, and again, Blue Eyes was the only one with that much attack, we kind of have a problem there. Yeah, so we can say that Yuki's win here is just dumb luck. I mean, it was more for the next problem, but we'll deal with that in a different part. The Millennium Puzzle. Sorry about that sound I got. This probably won't help, but... I keep doing these live streams as if I'm recording a video and have to talk as fast as possible. That's not true. So, besides that, the first part, my first act went relatively well. I wouldn't have them be high school students. Maybe fresh out of high school if you truly want, just because I also find it weird that a bunch of high school students were just allowed to just up and leave school, at least in the middle of the school year, in order to go to an island to play a card game that at that point in time wasn't even that popular. I mean, you have tournaments and all that, but it wasn't the big thing that it was later on. It didn't even have dual disc or the big fields that was specifically located. Seto had one, and then there's the tournament areas, and then there's Battle Island, but that's about it. And I think the ones on Battle Island were actually even higher tech. Anyway, so, one, they're not high school students in this version. They're fresh out of high school, at best going into college, where some of them are already working in the others. I know it's weird for somebody who's working to up and leave their work for this, but at least it's more reasonable. I don't know. Put in the comments if you disagree with that. We still get Seto showing up to the shop because he's heard rumors about this Blue Eyes, him challenging Yuki's grandfather. I can't remember his name. Something Moto. Again, in the comments if you know this. We still get Yuki beating him with Exodia. I like that point. It makes for a great point, and the memes out of it were great. We still get Pegasus sending the video and the star chips and all that in order to challenge Yuki. We still get... Well, I would make a change here. Instead of Yuki actually having a chance to beat Pegasus, we'll make it a stomp going in Pegasus' favor. It was somewhat of a stomp, but towards the end it looked like Yuki pulled off, and I kind of think that's bad. We kind of want to make Pegasus look like this overbearing force throughout the whole thing. We don't want to take away from him. I don't think the cartoons do that. If anything, it just makes him more of a weird, like, ambiance thing. Whatever. Pegasus' character was fine. Leave that as it is. I'll point that here. Just be done with that. We still get Seto Kaiba still being what he does. I'm doing this the exact different way than I want to do. So let's slow down and go back to... People are going to like this. Let's slow it down and go back to Yuki versus Seto. So that still works up the way it is. Another difference here is, again, if I haven't said this earlier already, spoilers, but there's going to be, this time in this cycle around, there's going to be a girl with Kazuma? Yeah, Kazuma, who's going to be a longtime friend of Seto, a childhood friend, somebody who he knew from the orphanage. She herself never got adopted, but she just happens to just hang around with Mokuba and them. So, when Seto goes missing, like when he leaves, Mokuba still has somebody to look after him, because it makes no sense for Seto to just up and leave his little brother with no one to really watch him. I think the directors would still probably at least somewhat take over Kaiba Corp for Kaiba as he does his thing, but I think he'd be more worried about his little brother being safe. So her being there would make sense for that point. We're gonna have the beginning of this be one of those relationships where he just views her as just, well, at least he says he just views her as just an annoying thing that just happens to be there, but it's an anime. We all know what's really going on in the background. So we still get Yuki, Joey, and them going to the boat. Joey not being able to join because he never got a star chip and a glove. Somehow him getting the glove and being given a single star chip from Yuki giving him the disadvantage. Now, what happened with Exodia was kind of stupid, but unfortunately I think Weevil throwing Exodia off the boat is kind of important, because we can't just have that little, like, plot device there anymore. So, unfortunately that has to stay. We still get to meet all the cast and all that. Again, there's not a whole lot I can change about part 1, just because I do kind of like the way it went. It's just main plot things that we have to deal with. We still have them going through the island. Joey battling Rex and winning the Red Eyes Black Dragon. We still have Joey battling Mako Tsunami and winning. But this time, instead of just ignoring the fact that this man was looking for his father and needed money, Yuki actually promising to give him some of the millions that he was going to win for beating Pegasus. Yeah, a lot of people often forget that he won millions for that, and I don't think Joey's sister's eye operation needed millions of dollars. We still get Joey beating Weevil, them, Seto Kaiba jumping the gun. I know it looks weird in a live stream to do that, but it's expected during live stream mess ups, and I don't feel like doing a full recording and editing, so So Mokuba still gets kidnapped, but that's done slightly different. Instead of him managing to get out, we have Kazuma able to get to the island somehow, via a little boat or something. I don't know. It's the point of her is supposed to be just she's always somehow there, but she gets there in order to go rescue Mokuba, considering that that's kind of her job was to take care of him, and she ends up doing kind of what Mokuba did. She's taking Mokuba's place basically, because I don't believe Pegasus would have let just leave. We still get we get her getting caught just like Mokuba did, and then Yuki dueling for her to be released, and we still get evil Pegasus, along with him having the blue eye death, and that duel is the way it goes, with her disappearing before everything can be said and done. Everything from that point on kind of stays the same. I wouldn't censor anything. That's kind of We then get up to the point where Seto and Yuki do their battle at Duelist Kingdom, right at the front of the castle. Not Duelist Kingdom, that's the next arc. And, well, again, we're going to have the rules set up so Yuki isn't pulling that living arrow and the fusion card BS with the living mammoth. We still get the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. I think I think Seto should win this duel. Again, as I pointed out earlier, the only reason why Yuki beat him the first time was sheer dumb luck, and we want to make Seto look good. This is one of the problems that the original had, was they made it look like Seto could only beat Yuki via cheating. And if Yuki was barely able to beat Pegasus the first time in the original, what likes were we supposed to believe that Seto would? So we want to make Seto look good here, and he beats him with the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Seto goes in to rescue Mokuba, and then he finds out Kasumi's been kidnapped as well. So he puts his life on the line in order to save her and him as well, along with whatever happens with his company. We still get the Toon World shenanigans, but this time, instead of taking Seto's Blue Eyes, I say he already has a Toon Blue Eyes set up, because he knew he was going to be battling Seto. So we get a set of 3 Toon Blue Eyes White Dragons versus 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. And just for the fun of it, they both end up fusing for the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Yeah, it's a new card, and no, it's not necessary, but we'll have Toon Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon versus Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. And the way this duel goes is, as you can predict, Pegasus wins. Now, it's not going to be the easiest thing for him, but it's not going to be the hardest thing for him either. It's going to be him just messing around, just having fun with it. But we still don't want to make Seto look bad here, because he's going to be important later on. We then get everyone getting into the Yuki going through, battling the 2 Guardians, getting the star chips needed and all that. And up until the final duel with Pegasus, everything's going to go about the same. Mai getting eliminated by Joey. Was it Joey who did that? I can't remember. Mai still gets eliminated the way she does. Bandit Keith still gets eliminated the way he does. He still tries to go and hold Pegasus for ransom. That still fails. We still get Yuki versus Joey. We get Joey losing to Yuki, but we'll make that so close it's almost crazy, because we want to make Joey look good too. So a good part of this arc was Seto putting Joey down. So I think if we can make Joey look good as well, even in defeat, that's going to be a plus. Ultimately, what I kind of wanted is to set up Joey to be an equal to Seto, which he wasn't really set up for in the original. We then get our duel with Yuki versus Pegasus. Now this one's going to go kind of the same, except this is where we'll also get the introduction not only to the Toon Summon Skull, but also in the Toon Dark Magician Girl about the Toon Dark Magician. All of it's nonsense. We'll have Yuki destroy Toon World via his own Dark Magician and the Dark Magic attack. I just remembered the Dark Magician girl wasn't in the first part. Okay, so Dark Magician and Toon Dark Magician, Toon Summon Skull. Ignore the Dark Magician girl part, it doesn't really matter. We have Toon World getting defeated by Dark Magician and the Dark Magic attack spell card, ultimately forcing Pegasus to summon his most powerful beast, the 1000-eyed Restrict, which is able to absorb the Dark Magician. Just for the sake of it, because Pegasus is very cocky, he toys around with them. And for those of you wondering, yes, they still do the Mind Shuffle technique and they still get put in the Shadow realm for the rest of the duel. So, by the point this is all said and done, and we'll say Yuki is sitting at a nice 400 life points, while Pegasus is sitting at 1,200. I think this was at 4,000 at the time, so at least it's not looking good. Out of desperation, the Pharaoh Yuki is. Hey, viewer. Yuki is sitting there trying to wonder what can he do. He has no card in his deck which allows him to win this duel. And I think what would be real cool is the Millennium Puzzle at this point in time starts to shine. His hand, his deck, everything starts to shine a brilliant yellow. He goes to draw his next card, and what he pulls out is Slifer the Sky Dragon. It's really early for this point in Duelist Kingdom, but I think this will be a good introduction to the Egyptian gods and a nice segue into the next part. Yuki activates the Soul Rope spell card, allowing him to summon the 3 monsters necessary in order to pull out Slifer. He plays it, and Slifer's summoning is so powerful that it completely destroys the Shadow Realm. It's completely rendered useless, and we get this giant beast circling the castle. Pegasus knows what Slifer is. He made the cards and all that after all. So he's sitting there trying to figure out where he got this beast from. Yuki himself has no idea what's going on himself. He has no memories. So he's sitting there looking at this creature and looks at its HP, and it sits at a nice 3,000 since he should have at least 3 cards in his hand. Due to its effect, the 1000-eyed release loses 2,000 of its own life points, putting it down to a measly 500, allowing Yuki more than enough attack points to take out Relinquish. This gets him the win over Pegasus, ultimately destroying him the worst possible ways he could. Bakura, on the off hand, still did what he does. He still goes, he gets Mokuba, and brings the bodies and all that, the soulless bodies, to a place in which they can be restored. Sorry, this part's kind of a weird one to talk about. Sorry if you left a comment for some reason, it's not showing me as well. But Pegasus still ends up using his Millennium Eye to release all the souls, reviving everyone, leaving while no one's paying attention, giving not only the prize money, but the friendship card to Yugi. We then get Bakura going off to a defeated Pegasus and challenging him to a shadow game. Unlike in the anime, unfortunately, I think this time around Pegasus does die. In the manga this happened, but not in the anime, mostly because it was for kids. But I think it's very important that he does, just so we can set up for an even greater evil later. And Bakura gets the second of the 7 Millennium items. And he leaves the island without anyone knowing. We then have Seto and them, well, Mokuba and Kasumi thanking Yuki and them for all they did, but Seto just ignoring them, just saying next time he will be the victor. You know, having his Vegeta moment. God damn Vegeta. And they all obviously leave the island, setting up for the next arc. Well, I think that's about it for this part of them. How to make Yu-Gi-Oh better. I'm sorry it wasn't a whole lot more story focused, but I think it's important that we got those plot points set up and set